Om. 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 Sairam, everyone. I think I will try to summarize. I listened to the discussions last week. I think we are still discussing the Saguna Nirakara aspects, which I think from previous week also. We will read the slide, and then if anyone would like to discuss anything, we can discuss, else we can proceed forward. Saira. Kalyani, I think you have to read.
Okay, sure. There are two ideas about God described in the Shastras. The idea that he is cognizable as having attributes, and the idea that he is free from all attributes, and so cannot be described as thus and thus. That is to say, the Saguna worship of God with attributes aspect, and the Nirguna, devoid of qualities, formless aspect. The Saguna God is cognized as present everywhere, as the creator, sustainer, and destroyer of everything and being, as the father and mother of the universe. Therefore, he is beyond and above all beings and things, and eternally distinct and different from man. It is said by upholders of the Saguna aspect that the very cognition of this attributeful principle brings about liberation or mukti. Liberation is attained when man establishes himself in this knowledge and lives in and through it.
Thank you very much, Kalyani. So I think it was discussed in detail, I guess, for the past 2 weeks. If anyone has something to discuss, we could discuss, else we can proceed forward. So I think we can go on, Kalyani. Next one.
The second way is the contemplation on the attributeless nirguna principle. The truth that the ascription of attributes to the divine principle is undesirable and inappropriate is realized during this contemplation, and the attributes are shed from the concept of God. Then the one universal attributeless person will alone remain in the consciousness. It can be referred to as the knower, the jnata. Prajnana or wisdom is relevant only in the context of the human mind and human consciousness. It cannot be designated as the inquirer, for inquiry is the mark of the weak. It cannot be related to the intelligence, for intelligence discriminates and attempts to divide and dissect. It is again the sign of unsteadiness. It cannot be designated the creator, for creation is the activity of the bound, the limited. It or he has no bonds or limits. Activity implies a wish, a want, a desire. It does not originate from any other cause. All work has as its base some inner pain, which is sought to be alleviated.
Thank you, Kalyani. I think we have already read the Telugu for this also, I think. Have
Yeah.
we? Yeah. If anyone would like to discuss any of the points or as clarification, we can go back. But I think you all discussed about Jnata also last week, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
And I think Sivadas also had summarized some of it.
Um, I guess there was one part maybe we could get your clarification on. I think there was discussion about the line where it says, then only the one Purusha who is attributeless and omnipresent remains. He can be referred to as the knower, the jnata. And then, so we were wondering if, because in the next sentence it says, because knowledge is related only to the human mind. And then it is inappropriate to call him a thinker. Thinking is the activity of those who are weak. So in this set of sentences in the Telugu, I think we were wondering if the Jnata is being referred to as, is that the Nirguna Brahman that's being referred to by the word Jnata?
Uh, Sai Ram,
Tairamati.
the question here is Gnata. Who is this Gnata? Is it, that's the question which all of us were a little bit confused about it. Is it referring to the person who knows the attributeless Brahman, or is it qualifying the attributeless Nirguna Brahman himself? What is it? We were not sure about it. Sai Ram.
Okay. I think so. See, Swami is saying, అప్పుడు నిర్గుణుడు సర్వగతుడును అగు ఒక్క పురుషుడు మాత్రమే మిగిలి ఉండును. I think you all discuss about Sarvagata, who is all pervaded. Atanini means him. That's what Swami is saying. Atanini జ్ఞాత అని చెప్పవచ్చును. So I think in this case, in the way of Purusha itself, my understanding is, he comes into being only when there is a duality. And Prakriti and Purusha together, I think it's Sandhya Nivarni Swami talks about it. The unmanifest becomes one, Ishvara. Then he becomes two as Purusha and Prakriti.
Yeah.
And then from that, the three gunas and the five Panchabhutas come into being.
Yeah.
So it is still Brahman, in the sense, the manifest Brahman, I think, is Purusha. That's the way I have to say it.
So manifest Purusha means there is duality.
Is duality. Within duality, the one who has knowledge. Again, this Kshetra versus Kshetrajna. The Kshetrajna is the Jnata. I think that also Swami has discussed in certain Bhagavad Gita discourses, later discourses. So when there is two things only, one has to know.
One has to know.
When there is one, there is nothing to know. Only the knowledge itself is irrelevant, I think, at that point in time, is my understanding.
Here, Swami, isn't he saying the word Purusha and relating it to Nirguna Brahman in that sense? Then only the one Purusha remains.
See, Nirguna, even Nirguna, Nirakara, even that concept of Nirguna itself comes into being only when it is duality. Even for us to say Nirguna Upasana, that means there's an Upasaka and there's an,
that's, yeah.
One who is worshipped. Okay. Only when Upasana is there, all these concepts come into being. So it's still, there is some level of duality, is what I'm saying. The Purusha doesn't have three gunas. But whoever is looking at or trying to contemplate has gunas. I think your question is, if he is Nirguna Nirakara, is he Brahman? I think that's the question you're asking. Even in the world, see, when we say Nirguna, it is the gunas are in balance. In a Shuddha, I think, Sai Sathya, Shuddha Sattva. It's still a manifest word. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying it is, it's Brahman still, but manifest Brahman is, I would say.
Then he cannot be called Nirguna Brahman. Nirguna Brahman, does he manifest?
Saguna is also Brahman.
Saguna is Brahman.
Akara is also Brahman.
Brahman. Yeah, that's fine.
So it's like, I think we were reading a discourse today. Guru Brahma, Sishya Brahma, Sarvam Brahma. So the Brahma is all pervasive, which is what Swami is telling here. So I don't know. From the question, it looked as if you're asking whether it's unmanifest Brahman
or manifest.
I don't think so. Kalyani, I don't know whether I answered your question.
Yeah, I guess because Swami is saying here, in that concept of God, of Nirguna, all the attributes are unnecessary. They're merged into the infinite and discarded, and only the one Purusha remains. So that one Purusha, is it not the Nirguna Brahman?
Yes.
That's the closest it can go to Brahman. Brahman, the concept of Brahman is because in the next line, Swami says, Atanini Nyata ani Chapavachunu. Chapavachunu. Swami is not even saying he's Nata. He said, you can call him Nyata. Okay. Then he says, Elayana Jnanamu Manushya Manasamunake Sambandhinchinadi. See, Swami is saying the mind of a human being can call him Nyata. Okay. But even Brahman is not even Nyata. He's beyond Nyat, that state. Because Swami is explaining Elayana means why it is so. He's saying Jnanamu Manushya Manake Sambandhichit. This knowledge, the concept of knowledge itself is only as it relates to human mind. So Swami, the closest we can describe God is Jnata. Swami, that's why Swami says Jnata ani chappa vachunu. Means he could be called Jnata. It is like, God is indescribable. So the closest we can describe is that. I think that's the sense I got. Okay. So that we cannot say Jnata is Brahman. Even Purusha is Brahman. Type of thing. So even the word Purusha, I understand it may be referring to Nirguna Brahman, but it's even if by saying a Nirguna Brahman, we are actually reduced him to an object. When there's an object, then there are two things. That's why I said it's still in the world of duality, these words are. But it's referring to, yes, that way you can say. It's referring to that Nirguna Brahman. The closest is Jnata. That's what Sai says, please go ahead.
Saramana, I was just trying to equate that to you have Jagrat, Swapna, Sushupti, and Gada Sushupti or Turiya. And so at that level of Turiya, because one becomes the Jnata, because like Swami says, like when you have a deep sleep and get up, you say, I have a deep sleep. Then that means there is that awareness who has been conscious of having had the deep sleep even though you were in deep sleep. So that's where I'm trying to see that stage of the Turiya, where the person is aware of all the three states. Because something like the body is Saguna Sakara, mind is Saguna Nirakara, and when you go to that Atmic reality, you are like
Nirguna
Pratyegatman,
Nirakara.
it starts going into Nirguna Nirakara. So the one who is aware of that stages becomes the Jnata. So I just was trying to relate it to Turiya level and say that that person established in that is always aware of what is the three.
Yes. So in English, it says it can be referred to as the knower. So it's the closest we can refer. But he is much more than that. Brahman, if you want to say Brahman, I think that's. Okay, I don't know whether anything came out of it, but that's it.
So, Sairam,
Jairam.
the one who becomes a Nirguna Upasaka, when he is meditating upon Nirguna Brahman, he has no attributes, he has no akara, nothing there. So the person, how does he meditate upon a thing which has no akara, which has no form, which has no guna? How does he try to meditate upon a Nirguna Brahman? Then the Upasaka is one who wants to know, who is meditating, and Nirguna Brahman is another one. So there are two, double duality. I don't know whether
Yeah, see, it's more intellectual understanding.
Hmm.
I think what Swami would say is as long as the mind is analyzing it, we have not gone to Nirguna.
Yeah. That's
because mind is incapable of understanding anything called nirguna. So meditating with the mind is not possible. It's not doable on the nirguna. And even nirakara, mind finds it difficult. So I think. So the worship is not an experience rather than uh, a meditation or a worship, I would say. But let's see what Swami has in store for us.
And later in the paragraph, what he says is, he is beyond tarka, he is beyond knowledge. All these things Swami is saying. Tarka is only the person who is intelligent, he goes on analyzing.
Analyzing, arguing type of thing.
Yeah. And he cannot
Logic.
be unsteady mind. What is it? The sign of unsteady mind is to discriminate.
Yes.
Uh,
Even inquiry, Swami has said, is mark of the weak.
Mark of weakness. And it cannot be designated as creator, because the creator, further Swami says, what is it? Creation is the activity of the bound.
The limited.
Limited. So he is limitless. So cannot be. Does that mean cannot be a creator?
Which one, Auntie?
The last sentence here.
Yes.
It cannot be designated as creator.
Yes.
Because for creation is the activity of the bound. The limit. What is it? Bound and the limited.
Yes.
He has no bounds or limits. So when we read this sentence, we get the idea that Nirguna Brahman cannot be called a creator.
Yes.
Because he has no limits.
Yes.
He is not bound.
Yes. Sai Satish?
Sorry, I was just going to ask about those Telugu lines from, if that can be read again, and that inquirer, just that part, because I understand from the level of creator, it is fine, because the moment you say creator, then creation comes, then there is Dvaita, then automatically it separates and all gunas, everything flows. But I was just trying to say, inquiry is the, Swami saying it is the mark of the week. So I was trying to understand what.
Okay, so Swami is saying, Chintana Parudana Chelladu. That he cannot be called someone who is thinking, Chintana Asaktula Vyaparamu. It is the business of the weak. Tarka Buddhyana Chelladu. Tarkamu Ashakti Suchakam.
Intelligence.
Sorry.
That's what Swami is talking about. Then Srishtikartana Chelladu. బంధమున చిక్కినవారు కాని సృష్టించరు. అతనికి బంధము లేవి కలవు. చరణములన్నీయు కోర్కెలు ఈడేరుచున్నట్టుకే ఈడేర్చుకొనుటకే కానీ వేరు కాదు.
To satisfy all the wishes.
So that's what Swami is telling, Sai Satish. Tarkamu, Ashakti Suchakamu. Ashakti Suchakamu.
Yeah, thanks, Anna. But Swami is saying Chintana, right? So it is more of thinking rather than inquiry.
Yeah, Chintana is contemplation and things like that also, I think.
Okay.
And so you're thinking about something means you are only... Yeah, that's the way they have translated.
Okay.
See, even Atma Chintana, something like that, inquiry of Atman is called Atma Chintana.
Okay, now that means there is still thoughts exist, so mind exists, so it is
Exactly.
still at the level of okay, thank you.
Analyzing, of some form.
Okay.
All these qualities, you cannot call them qualities. The creativity, activity, and chintana, that is tarka, inquiry. All these are only, it can be referred to as Saguna Brahman, not Nirguna Brahman. Isn't correct? Am I correct?
Yes, Auntie. Can you repeat, Auntie?
No, activity of the mind and the
Yes.
creation. He cannot be designated as creator, he says.
Yes.
And then inquirer, he cannot be inquired into. So all these are referring only to the Saguna Brahman, not Nirguna Brahman.
Yes.
That's what I want.
Okay. Shall we go if there's still some pain left?
In the Vedas, the divine is spoken of only as that. The reference is always to that. The word he is susceptible of provoking ideas of difference, and so the word that is used to indicate that it is free from all limitations and bonds imposed by the ascription of attributes. This is the essence of the philosophy of non-dualism, for attributes divide and distinguish. It is the inescapable destiny of everyone to fulfill himself. Every living being has to attain fullness in the end. Each one is at present at a particular stage of this march as a result of the activities engaged in during previous lives and the feelings he entertained in the past. The future is being built at present by the activities being engaged in now and the feelings that urge and shape them. That is to say, what we do, feel, or think about at present. These are the basic reasons for the good fortune or bad fortune which is in store.
Have you read the Telugu for this also?
Yeah, I think we have read.
Yes.
I think the first paragraph we read, and then I don't think we read the second paragraph in the slide.
Second paragraph we did not read.
Okay.
First paragraph we did.
So, ప్రతి వాడును పరిపూర్ణత నందుటయే విధి.
It is the destined rule that everyone attains perfection.
ప్రతి ప్రాణియు చివరకు పరిపూర్ణత నందియే తీరవలెను.
Every living being must ultimately attain perfection.
మన ప్రస్తుత స్థితి మన పూర్వజన్మల కర్మల యొక్క పూర్వజన్మల భావముల యొక్క ఫలము ఫలము.
Our present state is the result of the actions and thoughts of our past births.
మన భవిష్యత్తు ఇప్పటి కర్మల యొక్కయు భావముల యొక్కయు ఫలమై ఉండును.
Our future will be the result of our present actions and thoughts.
అనగా మన అదృష్టమునకు దురదృష్టమునకు ప్రస్తుత ప్రవర్తనలే మూల కారణము.
That means our present behaviors are the root cause for our good fortune and misfortune.
ఈ విధమైన ఉజ్జీవన శక్తి ఆత్మ నుండి రావలయునే కాని Marachati nundiyo labincha jaladu.
This kind of rejuvenating power must come from the Atma itself. It cannot be obtained from anywhere else.
I think we've gone to the next line, I think.
There we go. Maybe it looks like I have gone to the next line.
Even
So
this
I'll
last
stop.
line was past here.
Yeah. Sorry. So anyone would like to discuss any of the points?
Prastuta means present.
Present.
Okay.
So Swami is trying to bring about the karma theory here. Whatever karma, bad or full, good things we have done in the past, it is giving its fruit now. And the present, whatever activities we do, it will have its effect in future. So this is purely Swami is trying to tell us that it is because of the karma. Sairam. Isn't that? Arun? Okay.
Maybe he had to step away, Auntie, I think.
Oh, yes.
His camera is off, so maybe.
I think he was saying something, only. Something he had to leave, I think.
Sorry. I missed.
Yeah. Okay.
So this was not discussed, no, this paragraph.
No, we did not.
So Swami is clearly stating about what we experience. It's all about our past actions.
And the present actions will bear fruit in the future.
Is everyone okay? I think, why don't we move forward then? If everyone is okay. I think you all discussed that last week also, I guess, no? In detail, yes.
The prompting to save oneself and the power to pull oneself up into liberation cannot be derived from books. This strength has to come from the individual himself. One can spend an entire lifetime scanning profoundly written books. One might earn the highest rank among intellectuals. But at the end of it all, one might not have attained even some little progress in the spiritual field. To conclude that a scholar who has reached the topmost height can therefore be considered ripe in spiritual wisdom will prove to be a great mistake. The scholar himself might imagine, as he learns more and more from books, that he is progressing more and more on the spiritual path. But when he examines the fruit of his studies, he will recognize that though his intellect has become sharper and heavier, he has not been acquiring the awareness of the Atma to the slightest degree. Most people have the skill to deliver wonderful discourses on spiritual subjects. Really speaking, everyone has failed in living the life of the spirit, the paramarthika, aspiration for the eternal life. What exactly is the reason for this sad state of affairs? Now, spiritual texts are studied to equip oneself with scholarship in the competitive race for superiority, to earn one's livelihood, to pose oneself as an undefeatable upholder of some specific point of view, and generally to earn a reputation as a pundit.
Okay, we'll read Telugu. I think this sentence has not been translated in English. Like, ఈ విధమైన ఉజ్జీవన శక్తి ఆత్మ నుండి రావలేని యునే గాని మరెచ్చటి నుండియో లభించజాలదు.
This kind of rejuvenating power must come from the Atma itself and cannot be obtained from anywhere else.
జీవిత కాలమంతయు మనము గ్రంథావలోక నిమగ్నులమై ఉండవచ్చును.
గ్రంథావలోకన
గ్రంథావలోక నిమగ్నులమై ఉండవచ్చును.
We may remain immersed in studying books for our entire lifetime.
మనము అత్యంత బుద్ధి పరిణత నార్జించవచ్చును. పరివర్తనను ఆర్జించవచ్చును.
Yeah, correct.
We may acquire immense intellectual maturity.
కానీ చివరకు మనకు పారమార్థికాభివృద్ధి లేశమైనను ప్రాప్తించి ఉండదు.
But in the end, we may not have attained even a trace of spiritual progress.
Yeah.
మహోన్నత బుద్ధి పరిపాకము సాధించిన మానవునకు తదనురూపమగు పారమార్థిక పరిపాకము కూడా అలవడియే ఉండునట అసత్యము. ఉండున అనుట అసత్యము.
It is untrue to say that a person who has acquired supreme intellectual maturity will correspondingly have also acquired spiritual maturity.
గ్రంథ పఠనము చేయునప్పుడు మనకు అందుచే పారమార్థిక లాభము కూడా ప్రాప్తించుచున్నదని మనమొకప్పుడు భ్రమ పడవచ్చు.
While reading books, we might sometimes fall into the illusion that we are also attaining spiritual benefit through it.
కానీ పుస్తక పఠన ఫలమును జాగ్రత్తగా పరిశీలించు కొనినచో బుద్ధికి ఒకవేళ ఫలము చేకూరి ఉండవచ్చును గాని ఆత్మ ప్రబోధ ఏమాత్రము కలుగలేదని స్పష్టపడును.
But if we carefully examine the result of reading books, it becomes clear that while the intellect might have gained strength, spiritual awakening has not occurred at all.
Have we? Oh, I see some more is there. Okay, sorry. ఈ పారమార్థ విషయములను గూర్చి మనమందరము అత్యంత అద్భుతోపన్యాసములు ఇయ్యగలిగి యుండుయు యథార్థమగు పారమార్థిక జీవన అవలంబించునట్టులో కేవలము కుంటుపడి యుండుటకు కారణమేమి?
What is the reason?
What is the reason that, despite all of us being able to give extremely wonderful lectures about these spiritual matters, we simply lag behind in adopting a true spiritual life?
ఇది కేవలము గ్రంథ పరిచయముచే బుద్ధిని బలపరుచుకొని కూటి కోసము వేషములు వేసి వాదోపవాదములు సలుపవచ్చును.
This is it. By merely strengthening the intellect through acquaintance with books, one might put on disguises for the sake of a livelihood and engage in debates and arguments.
పాండిత్యమును ప్రదర్శించవచ్చును.
One may display scholarship.
గీతను అనేక విధముల వ్యాఖ్యానము గావింపవచ్చును.
That's it.
Okay, stop. Okay, sorry.
Kuti kosam. Kutu means for food, for the livelihood, Swami is.
So let's discuss. I think Swami is just warning us, studying a lot, unless we put it in practice, it's of no use. It can pose a big problem. Anyone who would like to discuss any of the points, please do so. Yes, Shiva.
Just an observation, like Swami takes us to such a high level, like he will teach and then he was telling, okay, Saguna, then Nirguna, and then with discussion you understand, and then he drops, okay, you understood, but if you don't practice, you're zero. That's my observation. He builds that momentum that he will take you to the high intellect, and then all of a sudden he will say, okay, you got the concept, but if you don't practice, you're zero.
Thank you, sister. So I think Swami is telling us the purpose of what our study is very important. You know, if for the wrong reason, if we study, it's of no use.
This sentence, is it a good translation that while reading books, we might sometimes fall into the illusion that we are also attaining spiritual benefit through it?
I think the translation is pretty good, Kalyani. So Swami is saying,
Granta patanamu cheyu napuru.
yeah.
We may fall under the illusion that we have learnt a lot by reading so many books.
But aren't we getting at least some spiritual benefit?
Some spiritual benefit is also there, but you are not at that stage where that aspiration for the eternal, that's not there. Only we are improving our intelligence, and then by reading we come to know about so many things. Our knowledge may increase, but is there an attempt to understand the eternal, Paramarthika? Swami is asking those questions, I think.
Yeah, and also Swami is asking this question. Jagrataga parisilinchu. That means even what we study, Swami wants us to properly analyze, carefully analyze, to see whether we, whether it's just enhancing our buddhi or whether it's making an impact on us.
When Swami is referring to like pustakamu, grantamu, even he's referring to spiritual texts here, is it?
Yes.
But the study of these texts is necessary. Even the strengthening of the buddhi is a good thing, right? But only Swami saying we need to do that along with practice, is it?
Yeah, I think that's more than that is needed for us to get the real benefit is what Swami is saying. You know what I understand. Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Hi, Ramaruno. The way I understand this is, and I think this comes from the previous two sections also. So again, this is just the way I am reading. I am reading it into it. The path of this, inquiring into this path is a very difficult. I mean, getting to the end destination through this path is very, very difficult. Those of us who are fortunate to have the even a little bit of a spark of faith in God. The Bhakti Marga is always the uh, most prescribed or easiest, one could say. And also in the last two sections, Swami is essentially telling us how difficult it is to follow those other paths, the Nirguna, Upasana, and all those, because he's negating everything. It also kind of points to some of the incorrect attitudes or approaches in other religions when they talk about the formless God and so on. So if we are fortunate enough to have a spark of faith, then following the Bhakti Marga is the easiest. Now, when it comes to this section, the way I see it is, it's like a scientist designs an experiment, does an experiment, then goes and looks at the theories that are existing to kind of understand why something happened. So these texts, yeah, to a certain extent, have to be studied to understand the context of where we are, but it has to be used to help us understand the experiences we go through as we progress on this path, um, through devotion or through the understanding that comes through about from the devotional path, the experience that we have, to come back to this text to understand why this happened, or why something is developing a certain way, and less about becoming an expert in the knowledge itself, is what I see. Thank you.
Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Ramana. So just seeing where Swami is coming from again is again the Pustaka and Mastaka. So Swami again talks about these 5 forms of knowledge: bookish knowledge, superficial knowledge, practical knowledge, discriminatory knowledge, and fundamental knowledge. So I think when a person is involved more in terms of a scholastic exhibition, then I think right from the bookish knowledge and superficial knowledge, it goes from the bookish level, like the pustaka to mastaka, it stays as superficial. At that point, it becomes like any other things of the world where it is just accumulated. It's another bundle of thoughts that's created and stuffed away, and it's another thing that the person has to carry. Swami would again give the analogy of a traveler who's going and carrying that food pack with him and sitting, and then it becomes more of a burden to carry. But then when it's afternoon time, they sit under a tree, have that meal, relish, and then they are able to uh, proceed with the rest of the journey. Not only is the burden reduced, but it nourishes that person so well that they are able to enjoy the journey. So I think going beyond the bookish and superficial, getting into the practical knowledge, going to the level of discriminatory knowledge, and ultimately sensing the fundamental knowledge is where I think it really becomes part of one's being rather than another luggage to carry, because at the end it's more of a exposition that follows rather than the same thing, whatever message Uddhava brought to the Gopikas, they already were living that. So I think it's more about living that rather than carrying it, which then becomes more of a burden again. And yeah, stays that way.
Thank you, Sai Satish. Anyone else would like to share anything?
When Swami's saying, oh, sorry, Sivadas Uncle.
Sai, am I audible?
Yes, yes, yes.
I remember this Bhagawan in the Gita Vahini, I think. He is talking about this parigraham. So So the Gita teachers, Gita preachers say they get money for their teaching, Gita teaching lectures. But Baba say parigraha is the greatest sin for a yogi or for a bhakta or whoever it is. So they don't practice what is in Gita, but they lecture out on Gita with the exposition from Sankaracharya's Bhashya, Ramanuja Bhashya, Mathur Bhashya, everything they are talking about, but they don't practice because they get money for their lectures now. So that is, they have enough knowledge, enough understanding, but they don't practice. So that's what Bhagavan is saying here, no? Because Sankaracharya challenged many scholars during his time, and he is the winner of all arguments with the people at that time. So always when we practice only, we get a clear picture. No? Otherwise, mere bookish knowledge will not come. But I read after the last time study circle, I happened to read Bhavan is saying that the final knowledge comes in a flash. It is not a gradual. It is all of a sudden to change the person into that. So when I read that, then I had a question about in my mind. So what is Nirguna Upasana? Nirguna Nirahara Upasana, which is spoken in the Gita, no? As brother said. So what I feel is that self-inquiry, Bhagavan has emphasized more than any others on self-inquiry. Who am I inquiry? Even though Ramana Maharshi is spoken highly about self-inquiry, who am I inquiry? Even Baba has recommended his path to an aspirant. He said, oh, it's a very good path. He followed it and he taught that path to his student, and it's easy, you can take it up and use it. But he himself, Bhagavan himself has taught a lot of spiritual inquiry. So, in the spiritual inquiry, or the whom inquiry, we follow, I think, we follow the Nirguna Nirahara Upasana. But the question comes always, are we not using our intellect, mind, for that vasana, Kohame inquiry path? And in Bhagavan answered, whatever you do with mind is useless. That's also Bhagavan said in other places. Several places he has said it. So also I have seen Bhagavan is saying, when you do it with your heart, you feel it, you believe it, you believe the words of the Vedas and the Guru, and you feel it, don't give intellect, don't discriminate. Discrimination comes earlier, before. After that, you have found out, oh, this is the way. Then no discrimination, no logic, nothing. You are at it now, but you are still aspirant. What I am bringing two things together here, that First thing I said is that practice is more important. I said in the Parigraha is a great sin, but for teacher, and the Gita preachers are not following that, Baba said. That's one thing. Second, I am telling is that we must have this distinction. What is mind work and what is you feel it. So when you feel it, then we don't say it. We are using logic and we are losing inquiry and everything. No. So Bhagawan has said it. Bhagawan has said it. So I want brother and everybody who read that that is mind is when we feel it and do it with the belief and with the understanding, and it is not the mind work. That was the last time I was trying to say, but at the end, the very end of that, but I couldn't progress it there. I want your input on that one, because I too like to know that. No, thank you, Sir.
Thank you very much, brother. Anyone would like to share your thoughts, please? I think on the inquiry, brother, I think that's, I like to look up and see. I remember reading somewhere, I think in Conversation with Sai Baba by Dr. Hislop, he's sort of mentioning, and then Swami says, along with the inquiry, something else needs to be done. I will have to check and come back. The thing is, even we are talking about practicing. How do we practice this? Recognizing that we Atman is the challenge. I know, we can sit and inquire, but when we go about in our life, how do we bring that to awareness? I think Swami is using the word Atma Prabodha, is the word Swami uses. That is, and I will open it up for discussion if anyone has something to share in terms of how we can practice Atma Prabodha, or to work towards Atma Prabodha. I'll stop.
And Uncle, was spiritual awakening, was that a correct translation for Atma Prabodha?
You can say Prabhu, because the translation here says awareness of the Atma to the slightest degree. It's both seem to be okay.
I guess I had a question that was related, I think, to this, because when Swami's saying we're not truly leading a spiritual life, like paramarthika jivana. I was also wondering if people could maybe suggest what that means to lead a spiritual life. As per Swami, is knowing all this and like doing our best or attempting to practice, is that good enough, or is there more?
Yeah, very, very good question, Kalyan. I think Paramarthika Jivana only will take us to the Atma Prabodha. So I think we can discuss I think the translation says aspiration for eternal life. So that which Paramarthika means the entire life should be focused only on that goal. It's the way I understand. We should not live for anything else in this world. Every single thing which we do should be taking us forward, with step by step or inch by inch towards that Paramartha, which is the supreme goal of human life. And I think that is something which we can attempt, or we can, I think you said, is attempting is good enough, or we should do. That should be our goal. I think that's what Swami is saying. Everyone is, I think, going to self-inquiry. It looks like no one is speaking up.
Because I think it's kind of a little bit of a, because I think when we do all this reading, I think we are thinking that it is, spiritually beneficial, and it means we're leading a spiritual life because we are trying to read and learn and all of this. But if Swami's saying that, for like, I'm just wondering if it's not enough, then is it all kind of, because, we had talked about before in the Gita Vahini as well, how whatever spiritual efforts you do, they don't go waste. Like, even if you don't achieve the goal in this lifetime, in your next lifetime, you will be put in a place where you can continue your path, continue the sadhana. But I guess there's, so if we do a lot of reading, but we're not actually practicing it or putting it into practice, then maybe that does not carry forward with us.
So I think it's a good question. I think, should we give it up? Should we give up the study if it's not going to help? I think that's one way to look at it. The second way to look at it is, even though we are studying, why are we not be able to? I think that's a better question we can discuss. We are reading everything, but then what is going wrong? And why are we unable to practice? I think that's a better question we can discuss, and that it's a valid question. Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Sairam, I don't know. I won't address the second part of what you mentioned, but I think the first part, I remember this only because we had recently studied this. In 1958, Swami gave a discourse where he said, scanning a map or turning over a guidebook will not give you the thrill of the actual visit, nor will it give you a fraction of the joy and knowledge of a journey through that land. The Upanishads and the Gita are only maps and guidebooks, remember. Swami says. So I think there is certainly uh, one should not conclude from this like, oh, there's no point in doing this. One has to know where we are progressing, but use that to actually uh, set out on the journey. And as we go through the journey, to use the pointers and directions that are given in here to make sure we are constantly uh, going in the right direction. Um, so I'll stop there. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Anyone else would like to share thoughts?
That why we are not able to practice?
Yes, sister.
I think we forget. And fear. To me, it's a fear of detachment to this. I mean, we read this is what it is, but we are human being fearful that, or what if I live in that, what I'm reading, and you have to move from this Maya to that spiritual world. So I think in a nutshell, it's we are fearful in my interpretation.
Thank you very much, sister. Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Hi, Ramana. I was just going to say, in terms of both prioritization and that ekagrata, that concentration on that priority. Suppose I have an exam tomorrow, any of the, for a degree or something of that, the final exam. The kind of commitment I'm able to give to that is because I'm able to prioritize that and also concentrate at a level that is needed. So the question that comes back to me is, if for a worldly exam we are able to prioritize and concentrate, why am I not able to do that at all points in time for the spiritual exam? Do I take it that that exam is coming only at the end of life, or that exam is happening every moment to moment? And I think in today's discourse also that we studied, Swami mentions how life is just ebbing away like a ice block that is melting. And knowing that, like he was saying, how from the great people like Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, he would cry every day and say, Mother, I have not had your darshan. One more day has passed and I have not had your vision or your darshan. That yearning, that intense pining that stems from just single pointed focus, and just my to-do list has only one thing on top of it, and that is essencing Swami moment to moment, something of that kind, whatever we define it for ourselves, however we relate to it, that and dedicating time to it. It's like I'm able to, everything that I have on my to-do list, I give time to it, and that's where I'm able to do it in whatever worldly aspect. Of course, there is no worldly aspect and divine aspect. All that is one. That's at a different level. But essentially, whatever I'm able to prioritize, I'm able to give time, and whatever I'm able to give time, I'm able to build focus, build that habit ultimately, which leads one to stay at that level of connectedness. So that's where I'm coming to. Because at the same time, it's like Swami gets us, like what you had mentioned earlier also, Swalpampi dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. It's even a little amount of practice, even the concepts, like Swami talks about the Jitendriya kingdom and people living up to that name in that kingdom. Those concepts itself are so lofty that just dwelling on that itself takes away a bit of that fear, a bit of that anxiety, whether staying in the past or looking at the future, of just staying grounded in the present. So again and again, reinforcing that it's not looking forward and looking at the back. It's just enjoying every moment, being in the moment, and going with that prioritization of that moment itself. Those are the things I'm not doing, and on account of which uh, it's not continuously the number one thing on my to-do list, and stays as the number one and possibly the only one. But I'll stop here.
Thank you, Sai Satish.
Can I
Anyone?
can I just add? This is just thinking.
Yes, sister, please go ahead. I had a question for you, but
Oh,
you
oh
can
my God,
you
I'm
can
on
tell that.
test. I am on test now. Okay, you go ahead first, and then I will say.
No, because you said the fear is a problem. So from where is the fear coming?
Fear of the, you know why I use the word fear, brother? Because fear of letting go, let go, like, and that's, we are holding this, all this, this Maya thing. To let go is the fear, because once we let go, once we detach for things, as Swami has given various analogy, when you hold the hanky, so many muscles you're using. Fear of let go. We are nothing, like, we are, it's oneness with this creation, creator, nirguna, saguna, whatever it is. It's just to let go everything. The thought, the words, the reaction to somebody's action, just to let go. I think the fear, it's a fear, or we can say attachment, but I think with my little interpretation or little reflection, I believe it's fear we have to get away from this, the world we are living. That's just,
Okay, thank you, sister. Now you can.
I forgot now. What I
That
was
was my fear. I think you let go easily.
yeah, it's just I don't know what Brother Sai Satish was saying. I think the idea got what he was talking about, but it's just the little thing I will tell you. I was just talking to my daughter and we were talking about love, that we should have more empathy, love, compassion. And she was telling me that, Mom, I have reached to my capacity of loving. I mean, she might have said some things which I said it could be a little more softer, nicer. And that made me think, and we were just discussing deeper when she said, that's my maximum capacity I've reached. I can't do anything more. Then I said, maybe because of your past karma, you are doing your best, and now it's time to surrender to Bhagavan. That I max out, like from my buddhi, from my intellect. I could do so much, but I don't know how to be more loving or more empathize with other people. And as we read, because of our karma, we born with certain attributes and characteristics and mindset. When you reach to that level where you think as a human level, I can't do, you need to reach out to him and say, give me that vision, or give me that buddhi, give me more love that you want to see in me. I don't know why I said that, but it's this very little discussion where we were talking about, how your past karmic actions, and you cannot do certain things, but that's where you come to Bhagavan and say, I know this is my highest limit I could perform and do. Take me to the next level. I don't know
Thank
why.
you. Thank you, sister. Anyone else would like to share? See, one of the challenges, I think, I think, Kalyani, I think you asked me, should we read and to continue this study cycle or not? So, see, my understanding is, whatever we fill the tank with, that's all comes out. So if in a tank, whatever we pour will come through the taps. So even our thoughts, our actions, all depend on what we put in our head or tank. I think the challenge we have is we sometimes put things indiscriminately into our head, and from childhood we have been stuffing stuff into our head. So I am reminded of the story of Bhishma. He knew dharma. No one lived in his times who had a very good understanding of dharma. And Krishna took the Pandavas to him to get to learn from dharma. And the problem was that he could not practice. I think we discussed it today. As a study cycle, the center study cycle also. So then there are things which we put into our head also. As I think Sister Shivani was telling, fear. Some of that fear is ideas which we have filled our head with. We are not afraid to do what others do in the world, chasing whatever they are chasing. But we are scared to put what Swami would say into practice, because that's a letting go, if it's letting go. Because ideally that's where we should not have any fear, but we have fear because we are following the world. I think that's the way to look at it. So I think the more we turn inwards, so turn away from the world and the ideas of the world, I think that also can help. That I think that's essential along with all the good readings which we do. And that's the way I would put it. I think everyone has shared valid points. It's for us to make sure, as I said, Paramarthika Jivana, the one goal for which every day morning when we get up to go in the evening, sleep, have we made any progress in that Jivana is, I think, something which we can think, contemplate, or reflect on. I'll stop here. I'm just trying to fill the silence, Saira.
Just a question about, because I think Sister Shivani also brought up the idea of letting go or detachment and that fear. And there's the story of Jitendriya kingdom was brought up as well. Like when you look at the examples in that story, like the caravanserai, you're only going to be there for one night. So obviously you don't, make deep relationships or have, is spend time and effort cultivating relationships with the people in the caravanserai, because the next morning you'll be leaving and going your different ways. I mean, is that an attitude we should be adopting in this lifetime?
Yeah, I think very nice question. Should we think it's Caravanserai? I think Sister Shivani is going to say something.
No. I will say later. Let's discuss Sister Kalyani's question.
Okay, she has let go of that.
I'm practicing.
Sahira. I think anyone would like to discuss, the Jitendriya story. I think most of you know the story of Jitendriya. Um, I thought quite a bit. I have tried to think about the Jitendriya story. But what I realized is he lived in a kingdom of Jitendriyas. He had the company of the Jitendriyas. He was born to a Jitendriya king. He got married to a Jitendriya wife. So everything was Jitendriya. So the company which he had was phenomenal. Whereas the Bhishma, who was also Jitendriya actually, but the company he had was not the best. If at all anyone could be called Jitendriya, it was Bhishma. He was phenomenal in his control of himself. But he could not do certain things because of the company, the people whom he associated with. Whereas Jitendriya, that Prince Jitendriya, he had the best company. Everyone, whether it be his mother, whether it be his father, whether it be his wife, everyone was Jitendriya, including the guards at the entrance of that country, everyone was a Jitendriya. So when you have a company, when you earn, which is I think grace of God, to have a company of Jitendriyas around you, to even walk with people who are all walking the same, or taking the same bus or train, or same flight to go to the right place, I think that will vouchsafe. I think, as you last question, should it be in this life? Yes, I think so. We should try hard. That's why I would say I will open it up for others to discuss. Saira.
And just to clarify, I wasn't saying that we should not be doing study circles.
No, I understand. I'm just
Yeah.
joking.
But
I try to be the
yeah.
devil's advocate here, but yes. Yes, thank you. Yes,
No, I
but
guess,
Sorry, what's the question?
this question, sister, should we treat our life as if we are just there for one night? All of
So
our
it's
relationships are so temporary. In the morning, we are getting up and going our way. Should we live with that state of mind is the question. Along with that, she asked the question about Jitendriya, the prince. Jitendriya prince from the Jitendriya kingdom went to a forest and he lost his way and he ended up in an ashram. And the guru from that ashram wanted to test the king and the prince as well as the kingdom, whether they were still attached to anything. And he realized that everyone, the prince who came, the prince's father, prince's mother, prince's wife, all of them were not affected by anyone's death. They said, oh, these things are temporary. We're there for a temporary period of time. Then everything, we all depart. So Kalyani was asking whether we should cultivate that spirit today or in this life. I think that's a question. I hope. Kalyani, did I describe the question right?
yes, exactly. I mean, it's kind of like, where do you put your time and effort? I mean, you wouldn't put it into something that's so temporary. But I mean,
Okay, good. Okay, I think then I will extend the question. So if it is temporary, how do we relate to people around us? I think that's a very valid question. Do we invest in them or what do we do? I think that's the question Kalyani is asking. Saira. Yes, Brother Sivadas, I know you had your hand up. Please go ahead.
No, no. Actually, we should not differentiate, even the family. If we had a child and a husband, and actually, yeah, definitely I will leave this world one day. So I will not take my child or husband or daughter or anybody with me. So definitely it is a fact. But for that reason, should I hate the family life, or should I hate the people who has no spiritual understanding? No, everybody is one. All are God. Bhavani, here we have read it already. Everybody has his own time progressing. Everybody must come to that last step. There is no excuse. It will happen. So, so everybody will travel at his own space and come to the final stage. So, we should not worry too much about that. So, we must love each and everybody. We must, even the enemy. There should be no enemy. But if I happen to have an enemy who is against my progress, say, I should love him because there's no second, no second person. It's a two way of looking at it. It is in my, which is my inner thought reflected as as enemy. So in fact, there's only one, and we must love each and everybody. No, that's what we had a question. No, okay, serving the world is one thing, and that is for our progress. And loving each and everybody, not hating. That's the reason. Not hating. Not hating the people is means loving the people. So that is so long as we have that, then we don't need to fear about. Even Shivani had that fear, no, that what happened, no. So we don't need to fear anybody because everybody has in him the God, and which will guide that person, and so definitely it is there. So we must love and we must be happy also. We must not, we must try to be happy and must be ready to leave the world. That's the thing. That is very important. If I die now, will I leave it happily? Yes, I should be happy. Because everything is taken care of by God and everything is God, no? So why should I fear? Even if I die. Yeah, that's what I think. So even though it is temporary, we must love each and everybody. That means not hate. That's it. I will stop with this one.
Thank you very much, brother. Thank you. Yes, Sai Satish, please go ahead.
Saramana, I was just going to say that whether we take even that Jitendriya prince, because he became Jitendriya, it didn't mean that he stopped doing his activities. That's why he went into the forest for whatever reason and he meets with the sage. Or if we take even Gopikas and so on, no doubt at listening to, they always wanted to be with Krishna, and in terms of the physical presence, when Krishna goes away from Vrindavan, yeah, they pine for him. But at the same time, they continue doing their worldly activities the way they are doing. So, in terms of duties and responsibilities that are there, that keeps going on. So, that is not dropped. Because again, that also is part of the same framework to essence the Lord. So it's like, how much am I able to the same thing, right? How much am I able to take my activity to the Lord? Like what Swami is again telling in today's discourse, again, same thing. You take the stone to God, you take the book to God, you take the picture to God, you take the cooking to God, you take the gardening to God, you take the office work to God, you take the brushing to Lord, you take the sleeping. So everything of that is taken again and again. Whatever is done, and so essentially it is moving the prakriti towards the purusha and essencing that. So I think knowing that everything is temporary is one side of the coin, but at the other side is that essencing, taking the temporary aspect towards the permanency is the other part of it, which will what will make work into worship and duty as God, right? Because we have that saying as well. If duty is verily God, then obviously how much of that can the work become the worship to essence that stays in place. So no doubt we have to pine for the darshan of the Lord in every moment, but how much is that every moment in what we are doing reaching the Lord is another aspect also.
Thank you very much, Sai Satish. Anyone else would like to share any thoughts?
Sairam,
Yes, Auntie.
Kalyani is saying, Caravanserai, a merchant comes, a saint comes there, or a thief comes. But in the morning, they all get up and they go in different directions. But we, when we are in a family, we develop a kind of bond. We establish the bond with our own family members. We don't get the satsanga of Jitendriyas. All kinds of people are there in the family. So the best thing what we can do is, as Satish was saying, whether it is worldly activities or secular activities or spiritual activities, always to keep in mind, like Gopikas, as our Lord, our goal is Krishna. Everything is He is taking care. It is for Him we are doing. That kind of attitude to come to us, we need a certain kind of spiritual background also. Just by Grantha Patana, we are not only filling our heads with all knowledge, but at the same time, it is pointing towards the Lord also. That part of it, we have to concentrate on so that, our daily activities also will point towards the Lord. Sairam. We have
Thank
to
you very
get,
much.
yeah.
And sorry, Auntie, I cut you off. We have to get.
No. We have to get good company, satsanga. That's very important. In a family, we may find one or two persons going in that direction, but not all. So we have some kind of influence of those persons on us. Sairam.
Thank you very much, Auntie. Yes, Sister Shivani.
I just want to say thank you to Auntie, because this is exactly what I was thinking. Okay, we are reading, but not everybody in the family is at the same page or, the path, which is okay. I mean, no judgments to anybody. But I do remember, and sometimes I do practice. Another part of why we are not able to practice, fear and forget. We forget sometimes what we read, and the minute we are off, then you get on our worldly business. Dr. Hislop said that, I think it was somebody else, wherever you go, you take Swami, as Brother Sai Satish also said. And the most practical thing is that sometimes, family will say, oh, let's go for a movie. And I have no interest, but I go with them and then do a Nam Japam there and, remember having conversation with Bhagawan. It's dark, who knows what I'm talking about. So I'm having my own conversation with Bhagawan. We done, I don't know. I mean, my family lately said, let's go watch Dhurandhar. I don't know if many of you have heard about that movies. And I have no interest in all that. I said, okay, I'm going to take Bhagwan with me 3 hours. He will sit beside me. And I watched, but in between I had conversation with him. So I just kind of, you live, of course, in that world with people, enjoy, but at the same time, how we can expand the timing with him. If it's 1 hour today, can it be 1 hour, 5 minutes tomorrow, then 10? So the more, I guess, the expansion of time every day will be what we have to remember. Sai Ram.
Thank you very much, sister. Thank you. Anyone else would like to share? I think when we go, yeah, I think I will go back to the discussion in which we had at our center on this discourse today. Swami says, whatever we are today, have today, is only because of our past actions. If at all we are doing something good, because of some good things which we have done. And Swami also says, by whatever we are going to do today, it's going to determine our future lifetimes. And I think this is what Krishna also said. If we make the best use of the circumstances today and do sadhana, and the next birth will be in a better circumstances to progress further in the path we are doing. And that's a reality. So to that extent, it should be treated as a caravanserai, where we are placed. But I think the way to look at our family or, circumstances in which we are, um, if only that's the place where we are, Swami has given us to practice what he has taught and maybe progress. I think so. Whatever the circumstances in which we are placed are equally beneficial to us as long as we try to put Swami's teaching into practice within the circumstances in which we are. There may be limitations. We should not pay attention to those limitations and we should practice as much as we can. And I think that's what Brother Sivadas also said. I think, we are born in the circumstances in which we are. We are surrounded by friends and families based on our past karmas. But how best can we utilize them for our sadhana is something which each of us have to figure out. But I think Swami will guide us. So we don't have to say, we don't have to think that the circumstances are keeping us back. And I think Sister Shivani gave some, examples of how she is trying to, even the circumstances, within those circumstances, how we can progress. That's all I can say. I know personally, I once in the bank, I was working in the trading floor. The type of language which enters your ear in that place is just phenomenal. It means you want to run away from there. I still remember I was so depressed at one point. I used to think, Swami, why have you put me here where I am not hearing anything positive around me? Then, once I read something somewhere where Swami said, wherever you are in the din of, the world, you try to do namasmrana. So after that, I also did what Sister Shivani did. I used to open my uh, computer and I used to type Sai Ram, Sai Ram, Sai Ram, as whenever possible. But, and I used to pray, Swami, I don't want this environment. And Swami made changes and then I was not there anymore. So I think sometimes we are put in circumstances, and if we make the best use of it, we learn what Swami has taught. I think we will be given newer, better circumstances. But we should never grumble. Our situation is so bad that we can't practice. I think that's the way I would put it. I think it's for a particular purpose the Lord has put where we are, and we make the best use of it, and I think we can progress. Sorry, I took too long to say anything. Anyone else has? Yes, Sanjay, please go ahead.
Sairam, I just wanted to add one other thing. See, another way to look at this also is, I think we read this in a few sections ago, to look at it as the circumstance has been created for us to pay off our debts. So if a situation has been created for us to pay off our debts, and if I do not mindfully utilize that, then what are the chances that I will have to come back again to pay that debt? So when possible, it's hard. Of course, it's very, very difficult when in the middle of the situation. but when possible, if we are able to think of it as like, okay, this situation has come about because I owe something here to this person or to this environment or to this situation, that I have been given an opportunity to finish off the debt in this lifetime. So can I do it? Is one approach that can help process such difficult situations sometimes. Yep, just wanted to add that.
Thank you very much, Sanjay. Thank you. So it's 4:30. I think we will close the session for today and continue next week. Thanks everyone for sharing your thoughts. I think it was a nice discussion. We will close with Samastaloka prayer. Om Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Samastaloka Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sairam everyone.